You hear it out there. A long, distant growl. Too low and too long. Too cold. Something's moving out there between the pines. It's not a wolf. Not exactly. You can feel it in your chest. The way your hair stands up. It is an instinct. It's a warning. Whatever it is, it's watching. Now the question is, what kind of nightmare are you out there dealing with? A wendigo? A werewolf? Or something worse? Something pretending to be a man or a beast, but is neither. We at the Oversight Division are here to help you, unlucky listener. If you have found yourself in one of these situations, we wish you the best of luck, but we are here to give you the best chances at survival, or at least make sure that we can catalog the information if everything goes as bad as we expect it to. With that being said, I am your presenter for the night, Vox, who will be going over some of the information that the Oversight Division has collected on these individual creatures. In the future, we hope that you do not find yourself in these situations again, but if you do, at least you'll be better equipped to deal with them. Call the intern in. Let's begin the first file. Oversight Commission Field Briefing File 17-A. Yi Naudlushi, the Skinwalker. Region of highest activity, the Four Corners, Navajo Nation, and the High Desert Wilderness. Excerpt from most recent files. We do not speak of them at night. That's one of the first things you'll hear if you ask the wrong person in the right places about skinwalkers. Among the cryptid taxonomy, skinwalkers sit apart, not because they're the most violent, though they can be, but because they are corrupted. Unlike werewolves or wendigos, a skinwalker is born human and chooses the path of darkness. This isn't a curse, it's a trade-off. Often chosen for malicious reasons. Skinwalkers, or Yi Naudlushi, in the Navajo language, are witches who have turned away from healing to embrace blood rites, transformation, and sacrilege. To become one, the individual must commit a taboo, most commonly the murder of a close family member. It is this act that shatters their humanity. And opens them up to dark powers and malign spirits. These creatures are not bound to full moon cycles like werewolves, nor are they mindless. In fact, they are among the most cunning of all cryptid types, capable of mimicry, impersonation, and infiltration. Skinwalkers excel at psychological warfare before they ever physically attack. Physical characteristics. Skinwalkers are shapeshifters, most often taking the form of coyotes, wolves, owls, or even deer. But something is always off. The proportions are wrong, joints bend unnaturally, their movements don't match the animal's natural gait. Their eyes in human form glow in the dark like an animal's, and in animal form, their eyes look too human, intelligent, and malicious. Many witnesses report a foul, sulfuric, or rotting stench that clings to the air around them. And in addition to this, they can imitate human speech, often using the voices of loved ones to lure people out into the night. This is the most common form of lure into snares that skinwalkers create to trap people, normally in isolated areas like campgrounds or farms. Abilities and attributes. These creatures are considered to be unnaturally fast, able to outpace most humans. While unable to keep up with many motor vehicles, on foot, few people have a chance to outrun these creatures. Despite this, they often stalk their prey for long distances, intending to tire them out and cause them as much fear as possible before attacking, unless forced. Safety cannot be found by climbing or extricating oneself from the situation. They are able to scale trees, cliff sides, and even buildings in rural areas. Often they are able to operate complex locks, doors, and other objects, even while in their more animalistic form, so long as the use of opposable thumbs is not necessary. Skinwalkers may also use things such as symbols, cursed objects, and ritual sites. If you find animal bones arranged in spirals or inverted patterns carved into trees, leave immediately. You may be safe. Despite this, the creatures are not believed to be invulnerable. But there is a caveat. Unlike many other supernatural creatures that may be weak to silver, it is not guaranteed to work on a skinwalker. In Navajo tradition, only powerful medicine men can stop a skinwalker permanently. However, there are other weaknesses, or at least deterrents. Ash from white ash trees is considered a potential deterrent. Refraining from using their names out loud. Using their names, either the traditional one or what they are called, can attract them. Firelight and salt circles have shown inconsistent effects in fields of report, but may buy you time or at least a temporary deterrent. The Oversight Division does not recommend any of these as a potential solution to the creatures. The best solution we can offer is to avoid their general hunting grounds. But if you found yourself in such a situation, the following reports may help. Reported incidents spike around tribal lands, but skinwalkers allegedly followed people who trespassed onto sacred ground. The Oversight Commission does not recommend engagement. Many a field operative has lost their life in operations where they have encountered skinwalkers unprepared. If a skinwalker knows your name or voice, you are in danger. Generally, once they know enough about possible prey, you can become a target for little more reason than you were present at the time where they decided to hunt. The following report is from the Arizona Oversight Division. Unit 12, Anomalous Entity Surveillance. Incident Report, classified. The case ID is listed on the screen. Date, October 2nd, 1978. Time of the incident, 9:45 p.m. Location, near a Shell gas station, Highway 87, Northern Arizona. Reporting agent, Lieutenant R. Caldwell. At approximately 9:52, local dispatch received a 1066 suspicious activity call from a Shell gas station attendant, Eli Romero, reporting a man in torn skin walking barefoot along the highway shoulder. The claim was followed by audible panic and sudden loss of the call signal. Agent Caldwell and field unit were rerouted from Unit 12 surveillance checkpoint to investigate. They arrived at 10:16. The environmental conditions made it so that visibility was low, and the strong smell of copper and ozone's scent was noted 10 meters from the site. Upon arrival, the agents noted the following. The gas station's office door was ajar. The cash drawers were untouched. Personal effects of the attendant: keys, coat, and wallet found behind the register. A fresh trail of blood, partial bipedal footprints shifting between human and digitigrade, with a very inconsistent gait. Tufts of coarse black hair and raw dermal sheathing found entangled on fence posts 18 meters north of the location. Polaroid cameras discovered outside with exposed film showed a blurred humanoid figure. A Polaroid camera discovered outside with exposed film showed a photo with a blurred humanoid figure with 4 bending knees and an exaggerated limb length. Mid-stride, the subject's eyes reflected ambient light unnaturally. An eyewitness testimony from October 3rd, 1978. A Mary Gleason, long-haul driver. Her report was as followed. I saw it, just past the turnoff. Looked like a man at first, but too tall, thin arms, too long. Its skin didn't sit right, like it was wearing someone. I flashed my brights at it, and it looked dead at me. No pupils, just yellow. I didn't stop. I ain't crazy. The ground team later would locate partial skeletal remains at 4:13 a.m. a day later, approximately 2.4 miles north. Fused vertebrae and altered femur geometry noted. DNA inconclusive. Sample was sent to Site 9 Bioforensics. Romero's body was not recovered. He was declared MIA under Protocol 78R. All equipment on premises was sterilized and relocated to Unit 12 Mobile Lab. Afterwards, local population memory management via broadcast interruption and narrative drift protocol. Wider public explanation was given as a coyote attack or mental breakdown. All witnesses administered a memory dampener to avoid further events or people deciding to look into the event themselves. Filed under U.S. Department of the Interior, Anomalous Phenomenon Division. Do not disseminate without proper clearance. Now, the Oversight Division wouldn't be doing its due diligence if we did not give you a way to possibly eliminate one of these creatures. Now, we do not have a guaranteed way to bring down one of these monstrosities. We do, of course, have protocols. So if you just happen to be a well-armed citizen with the ability to do this, follow the following instructions. Oversight Commission Protocol Addendum. Engaging Skinwalkers. Document Classification Level 4. Cryptid Suppression Operations. Subject, Skinwalker. Prepared by Oversight Commission Tactical Division. While cultural traditions hold that only a medicine man may end the life of a skinwalker, the Oversight Commission recognizes the necessity for practical countermeasures when dealing with direct engagements becomes unavoidable. General notes on lethality. Skinwalkers are not confirmed immortal, but they are exceptionally durable and evasive. Their physiology, while humanoid in origin, displays abnormal resistance to trauma and unknown adaptive features that render conventional weapons unreliable. Important note, these entities are not guaranteed to die from gunfire or silver alone. Full neutralization may require multi-step escalation. Recommended engagement tools. Fire. While fire may not permanently put down a skinwalker, it causes damage at the cellular level and can disrupt supernatural bindings or shape-shifting rituals. a flamethrower of military grade or better, Molotov cocktails or homemade fire accelerants, or an incendiary grenade, or white phosphorus. Fire is most effective when combined with other methods, and is especially useful for breaking pursuit, flushing the creature from hiding, or damaging it during transformation phases. Our secondary or supplementary item: any sort of high caliber weapon with silvered ammunition. A 50 BMG or other similar weapons, or shotguns loaded with silver buckshot for short-range encounters. Silver seems to interfere with skinwalkers' regenerative process. As of present, however, no instance of full termination by silver alone has been recorded by the Commission. However, we have recorded and confirmed that silver does seem to have some effect, even if it is negligible. If all else fails, and full termination must be executed, we recommend explosives. C4 or Simtex applied to vital areas, like the head or chest cavity. Anti-personnel or anti-tank grenades, like the M67 Frag, M203, or a 40mm grenade or RPG, can be effective at dismemberment of the creature. Claymores or IED-style devices rigged with directional focus can also be extremely effective, though testing is nominal at best. The goal with this is complete fragmentation. While we cannot confirm regenerative capabilities, redundancy and destruction is considered best practice. Following the destruction or dismemberment of a skinwalker, we recommend the following for final containment. Place inside a high carbon steel containment box with a minimum of 1-inch reinforced alloy steel. The interior should be, if possible, etched with protective symbols, glyphs, or native script. Bury the containment unit no less than 6 feet underground. Pour reinforced concrete over the area. The site should be remote, located, and registered. The glyphs must be reinscribed every 30 years. And for the Commission, no fewer than 2 operatives with spiritual training or occult defense clearance should perform the ward reinscription. Final note: skinwalkers are not mindless beasts. They remember faces, they hold grudges. If you shoot and miss, you might not get a second chance. Do not engage unless you are absolutely certain of your exit plan. Section 2. The Wendigo. Oversight Commission Field Briefing File 12D. Cannibal Curse Manifestation. Class Red Anomaly. Primary zones of encounter: northern woodlands, subarctic territories, isolated forested mountain ranges. Report. You won't see it coming until it's too late. The trees go still, no birds, no wind. The cold hits harder, and then the screaming starts. There are monsters that kill because they're predators. But a wendigo isn't just hungry. It is hunger incarnate, a walking famine, a curse of winter made flesh. Origins and transformation. The wendigo is not born, it is made, forged through the act of desperation and desecration. In almost every report tied to the entity, the transformation begins with cannibalism, often during starvation conditions, deep in the wilderness, where isolation and snow seal off escape. The afflicted individual consumes the flesh of another human, and in doing so invites a spiritual parasite, a curse that hollows them out, body and soul. Their heart turns to ice, their hunger becomes unending, and whatever remains of their former identity is consumed. It is believed that this transformation is accelerated and magnified on native soil, especially lands tied to First Nations, tribal boundaries, ancient hunting grounds, or burial sites. Physical characteristics. Typically, these creatures range from 8 to 14 feet high, depending on age and how long the entity has fed. The longer it exists, the more emaciated yet powerful it becomes. While these creatures appear gaunt, their frames stretched over jutting bones, skin like dry bark or desiccated corpses. Some may even appear altered or horned, with skull-like visages, resembling an elk or a deer, likely due to merging with remnants of previous victims or symbolic distortions of the human form. Their eyes glow faintly in the dark, dull yellow or ghost white, and they leave the scent of death, rot, and dampness wherever they have gone. Behavior and hunting patterns. The wendigo stalks its prey for days, sometimes weeks, staying just out of sight. It enjoys the psychological breakdown of its victims. Fear and isolation season the meat, so to speak. Despite its gaunt appearance, the wendigo is extremely fast, able to keep up with a car at up to 60 miles per hour, and can climb or leap with inhuman agility. These creatures also have the ability of vocal memory, though it is crude, more like a broken voice echoing from a frost-bitten throat. Victims often describe hearing cries for help in a loved one's voice just before being taken. Physiology and weaknesses. These creatures have an extremely high pain tolerance. Conventional weapons cause little to no observable reaction. While not confirmed to regenerate lost limbs, they seem largely immune to blood loss and shock, though large enough caliber weapons or enough sustained damage can cause them to flee. Wendigos are vulnerable to sustained high temperatures, burns, and thermal attacks. They are believed to have heat sensitivity, and fire is their only confirmed weakness. To destroy one, full-body immolation is the preferred method of disposal. For operatives, or even yourself, if you encounter a wendigo, do not attempt containment. The risk of breach of a contained wendigo is too high. If the corpse is recovered and cannot be immolated, seal it in a lead-lined sarcophagus lined with red cedar, marked with tribal warning symbols. Bury at a depth exceeding 12 feet in a permafrost zone. Reinforce site with continuous thermal field monitoring for reactivation. There is one other possible negative for dealing with a wendigo or even being a target of its hunt. Prolonged exposure to a wendigo may cause nightmares, hallucinations, and irrational cravings. Some have reported the loss of ability to speech or complete emotional detachment. In extremely rare cases, or someone who has been exposed for far too long to these creatures, mimetic infection may occur. Often, what happens is an affected target may attempt to consume human flesh by non-afflicted individuals. One who has done so requires immediate quarantine, as they are likely to transform, especially if they are in designated areas. If you're in the woods and your fingers start to go numb, even with gloves, and the silence is deeper than it should be, you're likely already being hunted. The wendigo doesn't chase its prey. It starves it. It terrifies it. It makes you feel like meat before it ever touches you. Begin incident report WD 7811. Date February 3rd, 1978. Time 11:43 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Location Ontogon County, Upper Peninsula, Michigan. Responding officer Patrolman Dalton K. Badge number 10974. Status resigned. Under psychiatric evaluation. Classification Type 4 entity encounter. Unconfirmed. At approximately 11:38 p.m., a 911 call was received reporting a domestic disturbance in a remote residential cabin off Clover Trail, approximately 8 miles north of the town proper. Officer Dalton was dispatched alone due to storm conditions and limited available personnel. Upon arrival at 11:43, Officer Dalton observed the house already engulfed in flame with significant damage to the eastern structure. According to his dashcam footage, retrieved despite partial melting, 2 human bodies were dragged forcibly from the structure by an unidentifiable figure, described in later therapy sessions by Dalton as gaunt, towering, and broken, with twisting limbs and eyes that glowed like coals. Officer Dalton failed to engage or call for backup. Instead, he issued a single report of arson and probable homicide, citing unknown suspect and possible cult activity. His immediate departure from the scene and lack of follow-up prompted internal scrutiny and a call for his resignation. Post-incident review. Survivors: none. The bodies of Martin and Elaine Shaw were recovered 80 yards from the structure. The cause of death: extreme blunt trauma, dismemberment, and significant flesh removal, with claw or bite pattern marks inconsistent with any known predator. Officer Dalton interview notes. Initially uncooperative, but broke his silence only under sedation. A direct quote from him. It wasn't human. It wasn't anything. It was hungry and angry and proud of it. The wind was screaming with it, not at it, with it. Analysis of physical evidence. Massive clawed footprints found in the snow, depth suggesting weight exceeding 600 pounds. Blood splatter analysis revealed elevated cortisol levels in victims, indicating extreme terror pre-mortem. Traces of tissue deformation consistent with pressure to deep cold, or exposure to deep cold, despite no sub-zero temperatures recorded. Final disposition. Case reclassified under Entity Files Wendigo M17811. Officer Dalton accepted an early severance and currently under the care of St. Agnes Psychiatric Center in Traverse City. Memory suppressant therapy is being considered under Protocol D9. Begin the briefing for the last creature that is possible to be encountered in the woods commonly. Section 3. Werewolves. Oversight Field Commission Briefing 08-W. Lycanthrope Entity. Human Lupus Variant. Primary zones of encounter: rural outskirts, deep forest regions, post-attack quarantine zones. Threat classification: Apex class, biological anomaly, sentient. Quote from a human hunter. They are not like the others. They are still part human. And that's what makes them dangerous. Because humans learn, humans adapt. And sometimes, humans hunt. Werewolves are not summoned or created by ritual. They are biological anomalies bound by supernatural virus or curse mutation, passed through direct transmission, usually through a bite or scratch from an infected creature. Currently, there are several confirmed transmission paths. Bite or claw of an infected werewolf. Consumption of infected flesh. Rare, but some document events. Or lastly, inherited. This transmission or inheritability is vertical transmission. There is a higher success rate when passed from mother to child. There is a lower chance of paternal transmission. First transmissions typically occur during the first full lunar cycle after infection. Survivors report intense pain, blackouts, vivid hallucinations prior to transformation. Lunar cycle activity. The moon doesn't just bring out the beast, it wakes it up and keeps it fed. Contrary to pop culture depictions, werewolves are not only active on a singular night of the full moon. Their activity window begins the night before the full moon. The full moon and 1 to 2 nights afterwards, they are still generally active from sundown till sunrise. After this phase ends, there is normally residual aggression, sensory overload. Partial transformations can persist through the entire full moon cycle, lasting up to the longest that we've seen is 2 weeks of consistent transformations. Physiology and transformation. Werewolves vary dramatically based on age, time under the affliction, and genetic strength of the curse. But the following are generally true. They range in height from 7 to 10 feet tall, with extremely dense musculature, fused rib cage, and reinforced skeletal frames. They have 6 to 9 inch claws capable of shredding Kevlar. Serrated canines with a bite pressure of over 5,000 psi. They have incredibly good senses, including low light vision, ultrasonic hearing, and the ability to track prey over vast distances similar to that of a bloodhound. In human form, many werewolves show discernible traits such as increased muscle mass and hair growth over time, heightened aggression and isolation tendencies. Long-term lycans display animalistic sensory enhancements, including smelling blood up to 3 miles away, tracing by scent across terrain, detecting heartbeats or fear-induced pheromones. Intelligence and behavior. While newer werewolves are unstable and largely driven by instinct, older werewolves, those exceeding 10 years or longer under the curse, or those born into it, show the following: strategic hunting behaviors, pack behaviors, the ability to plan, stalk, and even evade capture or combat. In some cases, retention of identity and reasoning, even while in full transformation. Some of these creatures have even formed packs, autonomous predatory units with coordinated ambush behaviors, deliberate infection goals. These are classified as red tier threats, while their opposite, blue tier threats, are those who have formed small enclaves normally isolated away from other people. Combat protocols and weaknesses. The following has been reported by all of our combat units and different researchers after encounters with werewolves. Werewolves possess thick hide, resistant to small arms fire, and possess a bone density and muscular thickness that requires armor-penetrating rounds to successfully and consistently penetrate. Additionally, werewolves' regenerative capabilities allow healing of most injuries within minutes up to and including the loss of limbs. However, werewolves have several confirmed weaknesses or effective tools that can be used against them. Silver. Silver is one of the main known weaknesses of werewolves. Silver causes burns and necrosis at the site of the wound. It inhibits their regeneration and can result in death to the creatures if damage to the brain stem or heart is done with silver. As far as weaponry goes, a minimum of 5.56 NATO rounds with an armor-piercing tip are required to do consistent damage to them. However, the preferable weapon types are silver-jacketed 50 BMG or explosive-tipped ammunition. Another consistent way of killing any of these creatures is normally sustained fire or a bladed weapon that has cut through their head. Decapitation, much like when used against a vampire, is generally effective at killing them, regardless of their supernatural powers. However, unlike many of the other creatures on this list, werewolves are one of the few entities that we believe can, and are, sentient enough for some level of control, depending on exposure time and transformation history. While an uncontrolled werewolf likely requires high-carbon steel or titanium restraints with silver inlays, others can be separated by isolation chambers and soundproofing, as well as reducing their ability to be exposed to any kind of lunar rays. What has led to this rehabilitation stance on werewolves is documented instances of werewolves limiting their feeding to livestock or isolating themselves. Often, those over 3 years of age can be negotiated with under controlled conditions outside of transformation windows. Older werewolves with human empathy are eligible for commission quarantine pardon status under extreme observation. Begin the last oversight file report. Department of Supernatural and Aberrant Entities. Incident report, level black clearance required. File number W1189MN. October 12th, 1984. Subject, werewolf engagement, Weybridge, Minnesota. Reporting officer, Captain Rick Schooner. Interview conducted by Agent L. Hendricks. Begin transcript, 1422 CST. Location, Black Rock Military Hospital Secure Wing. Let's begin with what happened that night of October 5th, 1984. You were dispatched to Weybridge, Minnesota, correct? Yeah, quiet town. Fewer than 2,000 people. We got the call around 1900 hours. Local law enforcement reporting missing persons. Livestock killing, strange howling. Dispatch flagged it due to pattern matches. From 78 and 81 up in the Iron Range. We went in with a team of 6, standard recon. We didn't expect a goddamn ambush. So you arrived at Weybridge City Hall? So you arrived at Weybridge City Hall at 2100 hours. It was supposed to be the rally point. Building was already breached. Doors hanging off the hinges, blood on the steps, drag marks. I sent in Jenkins and Millers first. They didn't come back out. You didn't hear gunfire? No. That's what spooked me. Whatever took them was quiet, fast. We heard something above us on the rafters. Then down came this thing. 9 feet tall, maybe more. Gray-black fur, muscle on muscle, jaws too long, too angular for a wolf. Eyes like headlights, not glowing, but intelligent. A hunter's gaze. This is the first confirmed encounter with a mature Class 3 lupine. Confirmed. The thing tore through Sergeant Miles like he was made of wet paper. I tried to lay suppressive fire with my M16, center mass, neck, even the head. Just got shrugged off. Didn't flinch. Only thing that slowed it down was the phosphorus grenade. Burned off some fur. I think it felt pain then. That's when it howled. The howl got the others coming. There were more. 4 more, we think. Coming from the residential east side. That's when we knew this wasn't containment anymore. We had to get out of here. I radioed for evac. They told us to hold out until civilian extract team could arrive from Duluth. ETA was 45 minutes, but we didn't even have 5. I ordered a full fallback toward the elementary school. It's the only building with any basement structure. We tried to lead survivors out. Families were hiding in the gymnasium. But then, the packet spread. It wasn't a clean retreat. I lost more men. Civilians, too. Kept finding bodies, torn in half, meat hanging all out of them. The children. That part I'll never get out of my head. And your arm, sir? Yeah, that happened during the second engagement. Northwest hallway near the science wing. One of them got me from behind. Fast, silent. Grabbed and bit clean through my upper arm. Felt the bones snap. Thought I was done. I don't remember how I got free. Maybe I thought I was dead, or maybe Officer Cordes put a bullet in it. I don't know. How was the extraction handled? Blackhawk teams from Duluth arrived at 2200 hours. They used silver-coated rounds, flashbangs, lots of suppressive fire. Eventually, they got the last of us out. No others, we had to leave. And the town was quarantined and raised by fire the next morning. Official report lists a propane plant explosion. Yeah, but you and I both know that's not what happened. One last question, Captain. In your professional opinion, were these werewolf or lupine entities acting with intelligence? Or was this simply instinctual predation? Come on now, Doc. You know exactly what went on there. They're intelligent. They're not just beasts. You knew that before we even went in. Last I checked, you were actually behind part of the deployment. But I'm done with this conversation. End of transcript. Additional notes. Captain Schooner is being treated for acute psychological trauma and a permanent limb loss. Blood work confirms a trace of unknown protein compound in the wound, though no signs of transformation or infection noted to date. Monitoring continues under level black containment protocols. Dr. Hendricks has recently been removed from duty after it was found that there was a conflict in interest specifically related to his overzealous obsession with lupine entities and creatures. He is currently being held in containment.